Uh, there we go. All right, we are back. We took a break last week because it was Labor Day on Monday, so we weren't here live on Labor Day, but we're back in a little bit of a new format, which I'm excited about. We're switching from kind of like just general chat and market update and stuff like that to doing specific trainings every single Monday at 5. So that's going to be the shift. Like every Monday, we're going to have a specific theme, and it's really a training. It's not so much just general information. So we're going to go deeper dive because we ask ourselves, how can we provide more impact? How can we help? We're almost 2,000 people strong now in our group. And so how can we help people the most that we possibly can with the resources we have? And we thought, let's just do live trainings every Monday. So the beautiful thing about this live training is you can literally ask us questions about the topic. So today's topic is how to source deals off market, basically, not in the MLS, right? And in fact, let me just pop over to what we actually called it. We called it for today's
hidden gems.
All right, how to find hidden gems. So what we're going to be talking about today is exactly that, how to find hidden gems. And then if you would like to ask questions, so I'm going to be basically interview style with Jason here. And as I'm interviewing him, if you have specific questions, feel free just to pop them in the comments, and then we will answer them live we're going to run about 30 minutes for these trainings because we also want to be concise. We want to make sure everybody gets a lot of value, and we want to make sure it's compact. So if you have a comment, or I'll even do one better, if you're watching this after the fact, so you weren't able to attend the live, but you're watching the recording, you can also drop a question in the comment, and then either Jason, myself, or one of our coaches will be happy to answer your question, and I'll even say, if need be, jump on a call and answer your question, because we really do want to provide the most impact we possibly can. So with that, Jason, welcome back.
What's up? Let's go.
What's up? Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, let's talk about hidden gems. Finding off-market properties. This is something that I've devoted the last 6 years of our business trying to crack the code. And we want to talk about some high-level strategies that everybody can be using and implementing right now. Many of them might seem like no-brainers, but some of them could be things that you haven't really thought about. And we just want to kind of peel back the curtain and give you something to think about, and as you look to acquire your next property.
Yeah. And really it comes down to there's a ton of properties on realtor.com, Zillow, all these websites, right? That are what we call, and those are what we call on market, right? Those are things that you can see. Tonight, we're really talking about off-market properties. And I think, and you and I have both done deals with on market where we buy off the MLS. But I would say of the deals you do, about how many are kind of on market versus off market?
90% off market.
Yep. That's right. And typically those are the deals that they're just better deals usually, right? You're going to find some on market, but by far, if you're taking this business seriously, if you're a serious real estate investor, you've got to learn how to buy and source off market properties. Correct?
Perfect. Yep. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yep.
So how do we do that?
All right. So some of the things to keep in mind, as you begin, and again, sourcing and finding a good agent that you can work with is absolutely critical. Can't sleep on the stuff that's on the MLS. Be looking, always be investigating and understanding and growing your market knowledge. So having an agent that puts you on a drip campaign, knowing what's actively, being sold as an investment property and being sold as, the after properties, the fixer uppers that are done, the HGTV and the properties that, you'll be able to comp your properties against, an investment property against. That's great. You need to know what the activity looks like on the market. But if you're like me, sourcing properties on the market has been very difficult. And so sourcing off market properties became, a necessity for investors. And so some of the ways that we do that, again, working with an agent and knowing what properties are transpiring on the market will help you be better prepared for making the offers when you do acquire or you do look at off market. So some of the low-hanging fruit, I think, turn my notifications off. Some of the low-hanging fruit that I think people obviously are pretty aware of, maybe not actively pursuing, are auctions. Auctions can be very lucrative. In my market, there's several auction companies. At least every 6 weeks or so, there's a multi-property auction that's happening. And in between then there's other auctions that are always transpiring. And, the good news is you don't have to overcome any objection of wanting to sell. These houses are being sold, highest bidder wins. And so, using auctions and understanding how the auctions navigate, what the premiums are, the bidding process and everything, those are super, super important. So those are your standard typical auction. Some of the other auctions that you can be looking for are bank foreclosure and tax foreclosure auctions. So again, these are off market. Somebody doesn't pay their mortgage bill, guess what? It's getting foreclosed on.
Right.
There's a process there. And so
and we're going to see more and more of that, right? I mean, that's
sure,
I'm taking a little side note, but with the interest rates where they are, with the market where it is, that's going to be more and more prevalent is foreclosures.
yeah. And so each county is different, each state is different, but understanding your county and how your how bank auctions work, foreclosure auctions work in your area is super important. In my area, it's still kind of a convoluted system. It's the foreclosure happens, there's a point of no return basically when somebody loses their property, and even after that there's redemption rights. And so you're going to want to know what redemption rights are. But honestly, that's a great strategy for an investor, is to pick up foreclosure auctions. Tax foreclosure is another one. If you don't pay your taxes, you're going to be foreclosed on. And so there's a long process there by which the county, and every place is different, but by which the county forecloses on a homeowner because they haven't paid their taxes. And so that can be a great way to, pick up investment properties. One thing of note though, tax auctions can be sticky. Most times, title companies won't insure properties from a tax auction for at least 2 years, just because of potentially the encumbrances that could be associated with the property. It's going to be clear of all taxes, but no other liens or anything are wiped. Bank foreclosures, generally liens are wiped. So just, buyer beware when looking at these strategies. And then the other auction that, actually the very first property I picked up was at an online auction. There's several out there. Different parts of the country have different auctions that are in different areas. Zome.com was the one that I used, XOME.com, auction.com, HUD Home Store. These are the HUD Home Stores are the FHA, VA, USDA loans that are foreclosed on. That typically lands on the HUDHomestore.com. Oftentimes they'll require a owner occupant in that property, but online auctions, do the research. They can be very lucrative as well. And there's a little bit of a process on understanding and navigating those. There's a secret sauce in there. Your highest bidder doesn't always win. Is what I've found. Oftentimes there's a reserve that's a hidden reserve that if it's not met, it just resets for the auction. But yeah, those are a high level overview for auctions. And again, these are, great ways for investors to look for properties. And I've picked up properties at many of these types of auctions. I don't know about Matt, about you, if you've utilized auctions before.
Yeah. I've done live auctions. I've done online auctions. And I think what you said early on was you just got to do your homework. You got to know what you're willing to pay for it and not get carried away at the auction. Right. And then you also have to make sure that you, that you know what it's going to sell for. Do your due diligence as much as you can. Make sure you're walking by or doing your walkthroughs, doing your comps, visiting with your realtor and seeing what they think it costs. I mean, you need to do your homework. You just don't pop onto an online auction and buy something because it looks good. That's how you lose money, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And whatever methods or, that you're allowed to research the property, exhaust all those methods. Because you don't want to just fly blind and end up with something that you shouldn't have bought.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So auctions, what other ways do we find off market properties?
So one of the best ways that I love talking about is utilizing your network. Truth is, every person has a network around them that, they could be, leveraging and utilizing, that could be a potential gold mine for properties. This is again something that's very unique to each person, but who's to say, and I say this rhetorically because I know from personal experiences and so many of my students that this is sometimes some of their greatest deals. Yeah, just using friends and family that letting them know that you're looking for investment properties, and guess what? They'll crawl out of the woodwork. You'll find a cousin that you didn't know about that has a neighbor that just has a property that they're looking to sell, and you caught them at the right time.
Right.
Somebody from around the way, you're letting your network know that you're an investor and you're looking for properties, and let the properties come to you. And that's again, because you're not fighting for competition. These are oftentimes the ones that you're the only one in the line.
Right. And, we had some students we work with just here recently. In fact, we posted in the Facebook group, they acquired actually not one, but two properties, because they were just literally, and I was visiting with them, they were just at like a baseball game for their kids or their nephew or something. And one of the relatives, just a kind of a distant relative, was just sitting there, and they mentioned that they were getting into real estate investing, and they ended up with two houses in one deal, right? And it cost them $0. It cost them 0 cents. And the nice thing was it's a relative. So it was kind of they didn't have to negotiate a lot. They just paid a fair price. And it was part of, I think, an estate. And so that was just a small conversation that ended up with two great deals. I think they're going to keep one and flip the other or something like that. But I mean, that's what we're talking about. Just those conversations, right? Having conversations with people around you, letting them know that you're a real estate investor.
100%. And again, those deals will come to you because of proximity, and you're a trusted source for your network. And so, yeah, casting that net is again sometimes the best deals that you're going to find because you're not in major competition. So yeah, I love that. So that kind of wraps the organic or non-paid methods to acquire markets off property, auctions, and through your network. There are other ways that you can acquire off-market properties, and oftentimes they're associated with I'll mention one more. Wholesalers. So working with wholesalers is, again, it doesn't cost you money. Wholesaler simply is somebody that has a contract on a property, and they are looking to assign or sell that contract to another investor. The wholesaler is not flipping the house, they're flipping the contract. And so, for instance, they've got a property under contract for $100,000 and they want to sell it for $105,000 to somebody else. You pay the $105,000. They've built their fee in as a $5,000, and that helps them reload their marketing budget or whatever they've got. So wholesalers is another good way to work with or to acquire off-market properties without a marketing budget. So let's shift over though to what working with a marketing budget looks like. And so oftentimes, when we think about looking for off-market, we've got to let people know, like, hey, we're interested in properties. And so, how do you get hand raisers for, somebody potentially looking to sell their house? Well, you need to market to them. One of the most common ways to do so is like through postcards or letters. And, this could be a huge budget, or it could literally be handwriting some letters. I know a student that pays their neighbor, teenage girl next door, pays a neighbor every week to write 20 letters. And so they feed 20 letters. They use driving for dollars method, and actually, identifying properties that show some distress or some wear, some neglect. Jot down addresses. You can use different apps for that. And they pay the teenage girl next door to write some letters, with the address, and mail them. So yeah, it could look like, mailing some postcards, some letters, on a very dialed in, approach, or, you can mail thousands at a time. That's going to have costs associated with it. But yeah, reaching out to people through letters or postcards Another paid marketing would be, calling people. And again, this could be very simple of, using driving for dollars list. And again, if people don't know what that means, that's simply identifying properties that show some distress or some wear, some indicators that, the owner of that property might be willing to sell based upon the appearance of it. And, identifying the owner of that property through, public records, or what's often called skip tracing. Finding telephone numbers, or, addresses. Oftentimes, the owner's not living in that property. There's a mailing address that the county sends the tax bill to, and that's, where you would mail to, not necessarily the vacant house there, because nobody's going to collect that mail. But yeah, potentially getting a hold of these homeowners through calling, just jumping on the phone and, calling them, or you pay somebody else to call.
So that could be a free or a right,
Yeah.
or a paid thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some cost, and much of this can be done with very little money.
Mhm.
So, for instance, gas in the car to go, pull, driving for dollars list, and then, a program to keep it all squared away, and, some skip tracing costs to try to find the, contact information. But yeah, can be done very inexpensively, or you can, again, spend thousands of dollars, trying to reach out and call people, or text. That's another, and again, you want to, be very compliant with TCPA guidelines and rules and regulations that are, govern texting and calling, within the law. But those can be, other methods by which you can uncover off-market properties and talk to sellers. Some other, maybe less conventional, but equally as utilized, running ads, Facebook ads or Google ads, Bing ads, anything like that. That could be a great way to uncover motivated sellers, and, acquire off-market properties. Some of the other, maybe even less often used would be like billboards or TV, running TV commercials. I know plenty of people that do that in my market and do very well. Running billboards, same thing. Even putting signs out like in your yard, there's always these "We Buy Houses" signs, you need to be very compliant with that. There's a lot of illegal signs being put in different areas of the country. So, but yeah, low hanging fruit, signs and things like that can be very helpful. Get creative. I mean, I can, I'm kind of digging the bottom of the well there, but running radio ads, running, ads on different streaming, apps and things like that. Even maybe developing your own app. I know somebody that is in the works to develop an app that's is sole purpose is to identify off-market properties and make offers. So be creative. I mean, this is just a short list, not exhaustive, but some of the most common methods that investors can specifically and intentionally in a competitive market look to acquire properties. And the key to all this is, no matter what, it's on market, off market, no matter what, is be a well-rounded investor, understand, like you mentioned before, how to calculate your offer, understand all the risks associated with it, understand the ARV, the after repair value, the rehab costs that are associated with it, and make intelligent offers. But then after you've done your homework and you're, seasoned and ready to make these offers, just make the offers. It never cease to amaze me that people are too shy to make an offer. If somebody wants $100,000 and it really just only makes sense to make an $85,000 offer, then make the $85,000 offer. It's because they're asking $100,000 or $200,000 or $400,000. Make the offer that makes sense to you as an investor. You'll be surprised on how many deals you pick up. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to be told no, or they're going to counter, or they're going to accept your offer. But make the offer. This is something we stress to our students over and over and over and over again. You can't buy investment properties if you're not making offers. And it's a
Right.
numbers game. You should be making offers. You should be making offers to figure out and find out, on average, how many offers do I need to make to purchase a property?
Mhm.
If it's
So-
1 for 1, if you're batting 1,000 all the time, then you're not making enough offers. If it's 1 for 2 or 1 for 5, I'll even go as far to say if it's 1 for 10, you're probably not making enough offers.
Mhm.
You just need to be making offers and making smart, wise offers, but making them nonetheless.
Yeah, I remember when I first got started, especially on the rental side, I was making anywhere from 5 to 10 offers a month. That's not a week, but I was making 5 to 10 offers a month to maybe get one, right? But if I'm buying one a month, that's the start of a great rental portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah. So just to recap, uh, free stuff you can do: auctions, circle of influence is what I put, which is kind of the people that you know, letting them know, wholesalers. And then if you're want to spend a little money, postcards / letters that you can mail out based on the driving for dollars technique. You can do the same thing with calling people or hiring people to call people on the driving for dollars technique, or buy a list or get a hold of some lists. You can run paid Facebook advertising that talks about you're a real estate investor and you want to buy houses or houses that maybe need repair. And then kind of the "we buy houses" signs, you can actually purchase actual yard signs and put those out. Is that kind of a summary of what we've talked about there?
Yeah. TV, radio. I mean,
Oh yeah,
on
yeah,
and
TV
on.
and radio. Yep.
There's others, but yeah, as far as the proven strategies that I've seen work most often and most effectively, yeah, I mean that covers it.
And then we did have a question before we run out of time, and it's not specific to necessarily. Well, it would actually be any of these. These are sourcing, and really tonight's about sourcing. But James asked a question. One of our group members is, do you buy on terms?
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, creative real estate is one of the funnest things to explore and to dive into. And so buying on terms, yeah, in fact, we have a very I shouldn't say unique approach, but something that we teach our students and that we have adopted in our business is they're always getting a term offer. And so we've got a process that we follow and that we teach about how to best deliver that to where you're going to create multiple offers, and you're going to, one of them is going to stand out is the whole point as the best offer that you would like. And then of course, room for negotiation. But yeah, for those that don't know what terms mean, I mean, most oftentimes we buy real estate, there's an asking price, we agree on some sort of price, we execute a contract, and we bring a bunch of cash or a bank loan at the end. You can take that same asking price and ask for terms. $100,000 house, well, how about I give you $10,000 down now, you carry the note for 5 years as a balloon payment, or carry it for 30 years with no interest or some interest, or carry it for 6 months, or this is where the creative part of creative real estate can really shine. But yeah, the short and the long answer, I guess, is yes, 100%.
And as we've shifted this format, we will be talking about creative financing in one of our trainings. Again, these trainings will be happening every Monday at 5 o'clock. So we'll be doing live trainings just like this. And if you have questions, if you're watching the video, obviously it's probably after the live, please drop questions down into the comment section so that Jason, myself, or one of our other coaches can answer your question, because we really want to help you understand how to source off-market properties. And then each week we'll be taking a new topic to do a training on, so that we can continue to add value to this group. And we so appreciate this group. We're almost 2,000 members strong now. And so we want to continue to help people break the chains of the 9 to 5, or simply just build generational wealth, right? We talk about that a lot. How do we help people build generational wealth to send kids to college, to pay off maybe some medical debt, to set themselves up just financially for retirement? There's so many reasons to invest in residential real estate. So we really want to make sure we're supporting the group. And so anything, and if you have a topic that you'd love for us to speak about, drop that in the comments, and we'll look. We do have a full training schedule lined up. In fact, I think we should put that out on a group each week, kind of what we're going to be training on, so people can put it on their calendars and know what to look for. And then that way they'll be able to ask questions live. But again, we're always open for questions, either just in the group or on any of the videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'll post that tomorrow. We want to,
Yep.
or the next day, we'll try to tee up what we're going to talk about next week. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, our whole goal, I mean, I appreciate the time spent here, Matt. I think it's of high value, of high importance, and we can take some of these big concepts and just really whittle them down very tight within this 30-minute window, and deliver a high value. And you know, our hope and our goal here is that you know, there's a lot of action taken from what we're talking about, and we'll catalog these videos to make those available as well.
Totally. Well, Jason, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for meeting me at our live at 5. We'll be on again next week, and we'll release the topic in the next couple of days, and I think we'll release even our whole planned training schedule potentially of here's the weeks, and then if we need to modify, we can, but certainly give everybody ample notice of here's what we're going to be training on. And then at any time, if you have any questions about real estate, how to get started, or how to buy your next house, just let us know. We'll be happy to help.
100%, man. Good to
All
see
right.
you.
Good to see you. Talk to you soon.